never forget it.
Barrels in the chest. On the double. You too, Julian. Doesn't matter, it's done, man. Don't let up now. Keep hauling that cargo.
If there's no work for an honest dwarf like myself, the likes of you don't stand a chance, mate. Best not linger. Your lot tends to rile people up.
You'd swear the shark was smiling at you.
Keep hauling that cargo. Go on, you mute sacks of flesh! Put your backs into it! The Lord Dread awaits! Its sails billow with Dallas's breath! Oh,
The Magister stops, barking orders. He sniffs the air like a predator, turns to face you, the wolf eyeing the deer.
you do not get to make that decision! That decision is mine! A good day? Let's talk about a good day. Tell me, have you ever been strung up by the hands? Your body swinging like a bell's clapper as your bones are being broken with cast iron rods? Respect? Try rancor.
He licks his lips. Dry flesh turns wet.
See, I'd like to string you up too. Rack you with rods and leave you dangling over a puddle of your own blood and piss. My favorite one. I'm very good at what I do, see? I don't even need a sauce hound yapping by my side. There was a whiff of something in the air when you approached. A current of filth. That is to say, sauce. Best convince me I was mistaken.
He leans in closer and sniffs the air once more.
Interesting. So I was mistaken. Must have been ambition I smelled on you, not the magic that dare not speak its name. Very well. In that case, we'll forego the gallows and turn straight to the hunt. No doubt a trustee of Dallas is champing at the bit to see some action. Seems peaceful here, doesn't it? A quiet day in a quiet town. One wouldn't think these drifting woods toss on dwarf-troubled waters. But they do. Consider for a moment the dwarf. What is he? A mule, a beast of burden. But some defy that role. There are rats among them, dancing to their rat queen's tune. I've need of a rat catcher. Of course. I must depart post-haste, but Julian here will stay behind and be a good little parrot. Ask, and he will answer.
Stay behind? But I've my orders. Same as you. Dallas.
Like I said, Julian is staying. And with that, I must be off. No hard feelings about the death threats, of course. How about we part shaking hands instead of stringing them up? How very heartwarming. One last thing. The Magisters here are diligent men and women. A stranger like you may run into troubles with them. Should this happen, just wave this piece of parchment in their eager little faces. My signature will placate them without fail, I assure you. Adieu and good luck. The Lord Dread awaits. The use of the gallows, I pass on to you.
Time has come, my stitched-lipped lovelies. We set sail. Get on board and man your stations.
Left behind like a dog. Blah. 7 curses upon that ship.
The Magister is rubbing the dirt off his robes, none the worse for wear, apparently, from the blast of magic that knocked him off his feet.
You, the so-called friend of Dallas. I'd be whining and dining aboard the Lord Dread if it weren't for you. Your meddling in Magister affairs had better be worth it. Yes, I am very much aware. Wasn't my damned head that hit the floor back there. Now answer me. Did you meet with a Magister caravan on your way into town? The hour's growing late and I'm beginning to worry something might have gone wrong. By the bishop's bones, you saw it. Out with it, woman. What happened? Voidwoken. That means Source was used. Which means some third party must have attacked first. And I've a fair idea who that might have been. Raymond, that old goat. Always suspected there's more to the Driftwood dwarves than meets the eye. Hate to admit it, but I think he may be right. Too many things have gone wrong along Reaper's Coast to attribute to bad luck. Magister ships sinking, weapons disappearing, and as you've seen, a caravan attacked and destroyed. Rumour has it the Dwarvian Queen herself is behind these acts of sabotage. That is what I want you to prove. There's a local thug, Lohar. He runs an operation out of his hideout beneath the Black Bull Tavern. I suspect this man of being a spy for his queen. It may be interesting to have a word with him, find out what he's up to. But where I really want you to ferret around is Reaper's Bluffs, to the east of Driftwood. It's wild territory, remote and hostile, where I believe the dwarves may have set up a base of operations away from prying eyes. Should you find any such place, and better yet, proof that Lohar is working in behalf of Queen Justinia, you will be handsomely rewarded, I assure you. They've always been snakes in the grass. Cheap labour, sure, and hard workers too. Half of them are their queen's spies. Her eyes, her ears, her poison-pouring hands. Queen Justinia will stop at nothing. She's a tyrant and a master strategist to boot. In that case, go forth and let the...
Back off. Locals first. You want to make war, you can eat elsewhere.
Out for a return visit, are you? Have at it. Got yourself situated.
Your flesh stinks of the void. What kind of
Keeping it
rat would
together,
serve such
Reed.
filth?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much. You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
We've got to take what we can get.
Keep talking, Wolf, and you'll end up eating sawdust from a cell floor.
Keep keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Yep.
No can do, chickadee. You're not leaving my sight for a while longer yet.
Well, there's a fun face. Byron and I are patching up before we head home. Hope the order folks are treating you all right. You stay out of trouble now.
Finally. Your colleague over there is absolutely useless. I'll have a bowl of the house stew, if you please. Oh, pity. I've been trying to get a little something to eat all day. But the giggleheads who run this establishment don't seem to be willing to provide a fellow with his fair portion. After all I've been through, too.
He lowers his gaze, then looks up at you expectantly. His lip trembles dramatically.
It's my mentor. My dear mentor. He was killed by those void beasts. I told him we ought not to travel in the hills, but would he listen? No. Now here I sit, my closest companion gone, our precious cargo worth more than Lucian's right ring, lost to the beast-infested wilds, and the waiter won't even bring me any stew. Ah, then perhaps my luck has changed. Yes, perhaps this awful business might soon be behind me. Tell me, how are you in, well, Void-Woken? Ah, terrific news. Then what I ask will be little more than a trifling. My mentor, Liam, and I were hauling in a goodly number of fine wares from the Southlands when we crossed paths with a great brute of a Void-Woken. It made short work of Liam, may the gods rest his soul. I managed to escape, but my precious cargo was left behind. We'd invested our entire livelihood in those wares. I'll do anything to get them back.
A most vile incident. A valiant warrior against the void. Taken too early, all hope destroyed. The path thus ended.
Very, very well, that's how. That cargo is worth more than a pretty penny, and I'll owe its retrieval to you and you alone. Now, give me your map. I'll show you just where to look. I doubt those beasts out there have any use of such a cargo. I can't tell you how thoroughly you've made my day.
My friend,
I doubt a reptile could appreciate the beauty of Barstan's gentle melodies. I consider myself fortunate to be carried to paradise by his silken voice.
taken too early, all hope.
Pretty good, ain't he? Probably ain't against writing a poem for a lizard either, if you're all polite and whatnot.
Who shall rise? Who gains the title most divine?
What are you gonna do
We
then?
wait, we wander and wonder, seeking signs from the gods. You have interrupted my newest masterpiece!
The bard clears his throat and gargles on his own saliva. He then returns to his poem, but his voice cracks mid-verse.
Well, never you mind. Every sonnet I compose is a masterpiece, and my muse has been begging me to write something new. Wait! You might be just the stimulus I needed. I shall craft a rhyme for you and your race. All I ask in return is a handful of coins. It's an offer of a lifetime. Normally I'd argue with you, but you do have a certain look about you. Very well. But if I am to write a first-rate work, you must face some difficult questions. Are you prepared to answer?
He stares at you for a few torturing moments.
Let's cut to the chase, lizard. Your kind has built an empire on the backs of slaves, reaping the rewards of the innocent's toil. Do you condemn your kin?
He smiles a crooked smile and runs a hand through his greasy hair.
It isn't just slaves that suffer, though, is it? You eternally seek perfection, though offer no room in the creaking empire machine to the sage or the savant. What say you? This superiority complex, this haughtiness, so cold. Others see you for what you truly are. Monsters. Loveless, heartless, ruthless. You know it to be true.
The bard hems and haws, then bellows his next words to anyone who might hear.
To all lovers of verse, I bring glorious news. I have completed another modern classic. Listen now, and bask in its resounding refrain. An empire built upon the backs of slaves does not deserve the fate.
Arguing with Mac is like giving medicine to the dead. He's as stubborn as a corpse and smells the part to boot. No wonder Papa Thrash gives him the stink any time he tries to go downstairs.
I don't give a rat's ass what they say downstairs. The Magisters is all that stands between us and the Voidwoken. We should be grateful.
Life of few surprises.
An elf sways on her chair, her eyes focused on the counter in front of her, where she has 6 glasses in a row. With the nails of 2 fingers, she's pressing red welts into her forearm. She slides one of the drinks towards you, her head bobbling heavily on her neck as she nods at the sparkling ale.
And that. Nothing like a glass of the good stuff to smudge everything into a pretty shape.
She slides another glass of ale toward you. Its contents sparkle in the dim barlight.
Bottoms up. Cheers to you, me, and...
Her gaze swivels around the room.
Damien's dull knife. This place is horrible. Never mind. Cheers to you, me, and me again. Another. Psh, give me one good reason. Maybe. I just, it's hard.
She shows you the 2 swollen, angry red welts on the underside of her arm. She slaps them without finesse, making herself wince, and stares at you intensely.
I know how to make it better. I can fix it, all of it. I'll tell you. There's this woman. I'm not crazy. And if she kisses you, she can change you. She's downstairs. And now I'm different. I don't know how to say it. I just feel it. I changed the right way. And then, I mean, I think now I'll be fine. You understand how, you know, sometimes you just want to be fine.
Can't wait to hear this one.
That's just it, isn't it? That's just it. You ought to go see her. Dorothea. She could help you. She did me.
She looks at you earnestly, her eyes gleaming, the twinkle of the amber ale behind them.
I seem good, don't I? Yeah, I...
I ain't intolerant. You're the intolerant one.
Can't wait to hear this one.
Intolerant of my needs.
Hold it. Papa no, you no go.
He grins, unpleasantly.
Loha didn't tell me to let anyone of your description in, so why should I? It's already mad as a bag of cats down there, and I've no intention of flinging another mangy yowler in there. You again. I told you to scram once. Don't make me say it with my fists. It's already mad as a bag of cats down there, and I've no intention of flinging another mangy yowler.
I need to not have those void woken slobbering all over me.
Ambition is all.
He fixes you with a stare, looks you up and down, weighs you up, the cut of your cloth, the weight of your bag. A moment passes. Then a smile creases his face, a smile carefully constructed to look friendly and authentic, a smile that doesn't reach his eyes.
Greetings, stranger. Looking to ease the pain of a decaying world? You're in the right place. Beers are ordered at the bar, but can I interest you in a nourishing bowl of stew?
He purses his lips. His fingers drum a pattern on his elbow as he assesses you. A lascivious smile spreads across his face. His tongue darts from his mouth to lick the spittle from his lips.
Let me ask you this. Across the world, who is renowned above all others for their exquisite love-making abilities? Exactly. And of your kin, there is one whom I believe to be talented above all of your kind. For an appropriately sizable sum, I can make the necessary introductions.
He holds out his hand. The money vanishes into his apron.
Now, let me ask you this. What flavor of stew do you prefer? Do you like the strong and meaty variety? Or do you prefer it delicate and fragrant, if you get my meaning? Upstairs, on the second floor. His name is Zarat. Pleasure is his business. Enjoy the experience of a lifetime.
He gives you a mischievous grin, then dips his head in salute and turns away.
The experience of a lifetime, is it? It's disgusting, that's what it is. What do you want, reptile? Huh. I want another beer and a bowl of stew. Which of us is more likely to get what they want, do you think? Guess that makes me a sinner. Perhaps you can help us settle an argument. Thatcher here is one of my dearest friends, but she isn't the brightest.
Thatcher grins hello.
Our mate Boris got posted to Fort Joy for consorting with lizards. And Thatcher here still fancies a turn around the park with Loverick's lizard. I say she'd be sleeping with the enemy. What say you?
They look at you expectantly. Thatcher bursts out laughing. Eden goes bright red.
Get lost before I throw you in a cell for disrespecting a magister. 2 magisters. The magisters.
Thatcher doesn't look disrespected. Thatcher looks amused.
Disrespecting one magister's enough. Go on, get lost.
She turns back to her drink.
And I'm saying, you can trust me. I can see a sorcerer from a mile away. And you can't be too
Of course
careful,
it's not true.
you know? If I can get Alex on.
Smile all you want. I'm not in love with you.
Weathered and rugged, the man sleeps soundly. He mumbles in his slumber.
There's bad things in the caves. Bad dwarf things.
His eyes open, but he doesn't see you.
Blood and oil do mix, after all.
His eyes flick wide open, but he's clearly asleep.
The island is ruined and doesn't have a name. Don't go there.
His eyes flicker open, but he looks like he's still asleep.
There's no graveyard on the island. Stay away from the graveyard.
His eyes flick wide open, but he's clearly asleep.
Sawdust and wolves, Mother. Sawdust and wolves.
Startled, he opens his eyes, but he's...
Arcs for Lucian's Day sounds nice, Mother.
His eyes flick wide open, but he's clearly asleep.
Leave me alone, Mother.
His eyes flick wide open, but he...
As the head said, don't open the chest.
He goes back to sleep.
No, I'm not trying. Of course it's not true. Smile all you want. I'm not in love with you.
You've got to pick who you can trust.
You got that right, Hilda. You got that right.
And I say, you can trust me. I can see a sorcerer from a mile away. Careful, you know. And get Alex on.
You're right about that. Right as radio.
I've never been so embarrassed.
The bell rings a warning and the tide is on the turn.
Here now, when one's in a small town, one must expect small town manners, I see. Have you a reason for barging into my room, madam? No harm done, I suppose. Though why I pay good money for these so-called bodyguards is another question entirely. Still, I may as well introduce myself. Baron Levere, at your service. Travels, you say? And why would you assume I'm a traveling man?
He laughs heartily.
Of all things, I wouldn't have thought my boots would give me away, but you're quite right, of course. I am traveling, yes, to Arx. Lucian's Day will be upon us soon, a celebration no man with a heart that is both as pious and mercantile as mine should miss. I go because it is every citizen's duty, our communal obligation to chant the rites of the return and pray for Lucian's divine resurrection. That said, I do have more secular motivations as well. Arx positively overflows with pilgrims during the festival, pilgrims and their purses. As a merchant, it is quite my favorite day of the year. I'm a wealthy man, and wealthy men need protection, especially if they accompany their wealth. The merchant's burden, you see, he must escort his merchandise, always. Music to my ears. A happy accident after all, you're barging into my room. If there's anything else you need, know you're always welcome.
You've got a pick who you can trust.
You got that right, Hilka. You got that right.
And I'm saying you can trust me. I can see a sorcerer from a mile away. And you can't be too careful, you know?
I've never been so embarrassed.
You're right about that. Right as rain, Hilka.
Of course it's not true. No, I'm not crying.
Who rings the bell?
This is more like it. This room has standards.
I've never been so embarrassed.
A weathered woman in a dirty sea captain's tunic babbles breathlessly to herself, and somewhere nearby, you hear a bell ringing.
The bell rings a warning and the tide is on the turn. And I without my compass.
I can see a sorcerer from a mile away.
I'm not crying.
The ship is in the locker, on the bottom in the rocky shallows, and all are drowned but me. And yet, can you hear? The bell rings on. The bell haunts me yet, and it would drive me mad. I'm haunted by my crew. They ring the bell to drive me mad. Please, make it stop.
She buries her head in her hands and cries.
Make it stop.
Of course it's not true.
The bell rings a warning and the tide is on the turn.
Smile all you want. I'm not in love with you. I've never been so embarrassed.
Why do you shiver, sir? This room is temperate enough, is it not?
Quite so.
Of course it's not true.
It's a shame, it is.
An absolute shame.
Alexander, slaughtered like a supper lamb. Poor dear.
It ain't right.
It ain't right. Never thought I'd say this. I hope they round up them sorcerers for good. I ain't needing one sick and a void woken on me.
You said it, Hilka. You're a true patriot.
You've got to pick who you can trust.
You got that right, Hilka. You got...
Menu simple. Eat or drink or both.
A prim woman in a starched apron wipes a glass with a clean rag. She pins you with blue, steel-sharp eyes as you approach the bar.
Blessings upon our Lucian, 7 times divine.
Her eyes soften and crinkle as she smiles.
I see your mother raised you very well indeed. Rare for a lizard, but all the more impressive. You and my nails might even get along. What brings you to Driftwood, darling? For joy! Praises be, but that's where my boy Niles is stationed. He's the physician overseeing all the camp. Yes, that's my boy. Did you know him? Finest physician in all of Reaper's Coast. Top of his class. My, but it's been too long since I've seen him. You come into my house and sling around such a disgusting lie. You beastly thing. I abase myself serving a lizard, and you reward me with that filth. Stay away from my bar, you hear? This is a civilized establishment.
And insist their hearts.
Come on, damn you.
An elf in tattered red robes shifts through pages of handwritten notes spread across the table.
So many suspects. So many potential culprits. I need to narrow down the list. Think, you damn elf, think.
A floorboard creaks beneath your foot. The elf leaps around abruptly.
What are you doing, lizard? Trying to get the drop on me? Sneak up and slit my throat? Empty bluster, serpent. Now leave me be. My Magister comrades are missing and I'm gonna find them. 3 Magisters vanished so far, all within Driftwood. My comrades believe some tinkerer named Higba is behind it all, but they're wrong. I'm certain of it. That's what I'm intent on finding out. This tavern is full of scum and degenerates. The true culprit could easily conceal themselves amongst them. I have to keep investigating, keep the pressure up. The culprit will make a mistake eventually. If you see anything suspicious, let me know. I served the Magisters for years with utter loyalty, but they banished all but humans from their ranks. I won't abandon them, though. They still need me. You do that. Now away with you. Who would do this?
Magisters dropping left and right. Can't say I'm shedding it.
Please. You there.
Executes 24 noblemen.
Yes, of course.
Woke up this morning in a sweat. Can't get that.
Hackles raised, the dog barks at the sand built up beneath the building.
There's something not right, and that's wrong. It's under the house thing there, and it's bad. I can smell it. You be careful now. What's under there smells real bad. It smells evil.
Take some sorcery in the face, nasty.
Take that, sorcerer. Dallas, get her.
You're dead, Alexander. Alexander, you're dead. You have to stay dead until we say you're not dead anymore.
Here, missus. Alexander doesn't have to stay dead, does it? Hey, are you a lizard?
That's no good.
Whoa!
Cool. I think you look weird.
See? Told ya. Take that, sorcerer. Come on, Dallas, help me put a collar on her.
Turtle Johnny puts an invisible sauce collar on Mary Lane.
Take that, sorcerer. No more saucy sorcery for you. Alexander and Dallas save the world again. I hate this game.
The three kids stare at you in awe.
Crack! The sauce collar's broken. I'm free. How about you, Dallas? I'll kill you again, Alexander. I'm a big bad sorcerer. Woohoo!
For a moment, you watch the children play. Then you leave them to it.
I don't care if we tear this place apart plank by plank. We will find him.
Oh, there, lizard. Reach for a weapon and I'll see you gutted, filleted and pickled. Now, I'm looking for someone. You might even know him. Grey cloak, grey beard, a satchel of books under one arm. Of course you haven't. Your kind would never rat out a sorcerer, would you? If I find you're hiding him from me, I'll cut off bits that won't grow back. If you see anything suspicious, report it immediately, skink. Understand?
The dwarf peers at an expertly dissected fish, gently poking its innards with his knife.
Fascinating. Most fascinating. Oh, my. I mean, no. What do you want? What's it to you?
The dwarf grimaces and points the tip of his knife at his handiwork.
Whatever's wrong with these fish is causing a lot of hardship for a lot of folk. I want to figure out what's happening to them. See if there's anything that can be done. Yes, as it happens. I need to see the effects of eating these fish firsthand, if you understand me. Wonderful. Now, there's 3 samples that I wish to learn more about. Care to choose?
The fish instantly churns your insides. You double over in pain. A sudden vivid sensation of floating in darkness assails you. There's something in there with you. Something. Hungry and corrupt. You can't breathe. You can't breathe. The dwarf suddenly drifts back into view, peering at you with fascination.
How do you feel?
A stream of black bile suddenly erupts from your mouth and across the dwarf's boots. He doesn't even look displeased.
I see. Well, I'm sure it was nothing but a side effect of the fish. Speaking of which, I've learned a great deal from observing you. I owe you a great debt.
The dwarf puffs up his chest and proudly gestures to the fish.
The fish is indeed malignant. Lizards are affected by it in the same manner as other species. Thank you, but no. I can only allow for 1 specimen per volunteer, or my findings could become flawed. The fish you ate is known as yellow ridgeback. Quite a cunning breed, often used in concoctions to increase alertness. But this one, touched by the void itself. Who is to say how such a creature might alter an alertness mixture? Seek out somewhere that peddles alertness herb mixes. Adding these unique ridgebacks might make quite the impact. So, now my work must continue, as soon as I've got in my quota of fish, of course. Farewell, stranger.
Stink of beer almost covers up the stink of fish.
The dwarf peers at an
Fascinating. Oh, my. I mean, no. What do you want?
With a small grin, the dwarf glances between you and his handiwork and shrugs.
Indeed I am. They can close our schools, but they can't take away what I've been taught. Besides, there's still so much to learn. Plenty. These tainted fish are causing a lot of hardship. If I can understand what's happening to them, perhaps there'll be a way to reverse the effects. I have to try. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Speaking of which, I need to see the effects of eating these fish firsthand, if you understand me. Yes, as it happens. I need to see the effects of eating these fish firsthand. Wonderful. Now, I have 2 samples that I wish to study. Care to choose which you'll try?
The fish instantly churns your insides, blinds you to your surroundings, but then a vision, towering horrors, the void-woken, gathered before a silhouetted figure. You strain to see who it is. Your perspective abruptly changes. Cold, dark water. You glide through it. Black tendrils suddenly creep across your vision. You slow. The darkness consumes you. The dwarf suddenly drifts back into view, peering at you with fascination.
How do you feel?
A stream of black bile suddenly erupts from your mouth and across the dwarf's boots. He doesn't even look displeased. The dwarf leans in and peers intently at your eyes.
Spontaneous delusions. Very interesting. But nothing more than a side effect from eating the fish, I'm sure. Speaking of which, I've learned a great deal from observing you. I owe you a great...
The dwarf puffs up his chest and proudly gestures to the fish.
The fish is indeed malignant. Elves are affected by it in the same manner as other species. Perhaps a touch more vivid in their hallucinations, but otherwise identical. Ah, yes, of course, but this mightn't be quite what you were expecting, but, well, the fish you ate is known as crimson bream. quite a fast, vicious breed. It's often used in the creation of ferocity mixtures. But those use regular specimens, not this kind. Who is to say what might happen if you brewed a ferocity mixture with a crimson bream that's been touched by the void itself? The effects could be quite potent. Seek out somewhere that peddles ferocity herb mixes, but make an addition. One of these, unique breams. So, now my work must continue.
The dwarf peers at an expertly done...
Fascinating. Oh, my... what do you want?
With a small grin, the dwarf glances between you and his handiwork.
Indeed I am. They can close our schools, but they can't take away what I've been taught. Besides, there's still so much to learn. Plenty. These tainted fish are causing a lot of hardship. If I can understand what's happening to them, perhaps there'll be a way to reverse the effects. I have to try. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Speaking of which, I need to see the effects of eating these fish firsthand, if you understand me. Yes, as it happens. This brown fish is the last sample that I wish to study for now. If you care to do the honors?
The fish instantly churns your insides. Everything turns black. A sudden vivid sensation of floating in darkness assails you. There's something in there with you. Something. Hungry and corrupt. You can't breathe. You can't breathe. The dwarf suddenly drifts back into view, peering at you with fascination.
How do you feel?
A stream of black bile suddenly erupts from your mouth and across the dwarf's boots. He doesn't even look displeased.
I see. Well, I'm sure it was nothing but a side effect of the fish. Speaking of which, I've learned a great deal from observing you. I owe you a great debt.
The dwarf puffs up his chest and...
The fish is indeed malignant. Lizards are affected by it in the same manner as other species. Thank you, but no. I can only allow for one specimen per volunteer, or my findings could become flawed. The fish you ate is known as the umber monkfish, a remarkably intelligent breed. In fact, its flesh is often used to create intelligence mixtures. Now this monkfish, one that's been touched by the void itself, who's to say how its flesh could augment an intelligence brew? It could prove to be most valuable. Find somewhere that offers intelligence brews, then add this monkfish sample. The effects... So, now my work must continue, as soon as I've got in my quota of fish, of course. Farewell, stranger.